Hi guys, welcome back to the Stadium Club here at the Caribe Royale Resort in Orlando, Florida. My name is Wade Plemons, and I am joined by my usual cast of legends. To my left, the managing director here at the Caribe Royale Resort and the founder of Box Lab Promotions, Amaury Piedra. To his left, the best dressed man in the room today. My goodness. Director of boxing at MVP, Mike Leanardi. And to his left, DJ Walton, the coach, trainer, manager, and father of MVP's own Javon Walton. DJ, I think we got to start there. Obviously, this was the most valuable prospects, number 8, headlined by Javon Walton. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to participate, and I wanted to get an update with you. How is he, and what's going on in the camp of the Waltons?
Yeah, thanks, man. Obviously, it's so unfortunate. We're super disappointed. He was really working hard, really looking forward to showing his skills here on Friday night at Prospects Day. It's such a great card. It's a co-main event that it was a massive disappointment that we had to pull out due to medical reasons, but he's definitely on the mend. He's much better. Basically just caught a really, really bad infection that we couldn't get rid of. Misdiagnosis, strep for so long. We kept pushing through. He kept missing camp, sick here, sick there. We finally got to the right doctor, the right diagnosis, put him in the hospital for a few days, and unfortunately just didn't get the call, the green light to compete. But definitely on the mend. Big shout out to my MVP fam for checking in on him and being supportive throughout this whole process. It's been tough on him. Young kid, really wanting to show his skills, and so disappointed all the way around, but super excited to be here.
Yeah.
Obviously love being here with you guys, and really excited for a good show on Friday night.
Yeah, I think one of the toughest things when it comes to boxing is, especially us, we get to see the final product. Fighters in the ring, and we just think, oh, okay, this is normal.
Yeah.
The process to get there is unbelievably tough. And just hearing you talk about it, going to the doctors, we're not getting the right diagnosis. And then when we finally do, we figure out it's more serious than the thing we thought it was. And I just feel like it's one of the things that I think fans sometimes don't get the appreciation of, is the road to the ring. So obviously unfortunate, but we are excited to have you here, as always. We're all excited to be here.
I got to ask, Wade, I'm sorry. Obviously a setback here. We had a little bit of a setback in March in Puerto Rico. To your point, the camps, the training, all the prep.
It's a lot.
Juana could be doing anything in the world. I mean, literally. I mean, the world is his oyster. The kid's a TV star. Do these kind of setbacks give him pause on his boxing career? Does that put doubt in your head and his head? How do you guys process that?
No, I think, one of his biggest strengths is he's mentally tough, and I think he showed a lot of heart. Even in Puerto Rico, we made no excuses. The kid, he fought with a torn labrum. That was not public information. We never used that as an excuse. He's tough as nails. He's fought Silver Gloves Nationals with a broken finger. He's a tough dude, and I think for Juana, he's in a position where he could be doing other things, but this is his passion. This is what he loves to do. It's hard to go through an 8-week camp of tough double days, fight through injuries. So if you don't want it, it's going to show.
Right.
And I've never, he's never been late to a training session. He's never missed a training session, even through the infection. I feel like a bad dad. It was like when we thought it was just strep, I'm like, another 400 on the track. Yeah. And then once we found out, I was like, oh shit, man. Maybe I was a little too hard on him, but no, I mean, I think his work and his work ethic shows that he's 100% committed to this. And I think we're going to see, obviously we're working with MVP, get him back in the ring as soon as possible, so he can kind of show everybody that Puerto Rico was a little bit of a misstep for sure.
Yep.
And he had a lot better of a performance in him. So that's what we're going to showcase next time we're in the ring.
Yeah, I sat with him when we were, in Tampa for Mike Perry, Jake Paul, and just talking to the kid. You can tell he wants this. You'd think, okay, the movies, the fame, whatever else. He's like, no, dude, I just want to fight.
Yeah.
And to have a young guy that I know you've instilled a work ethic in, and just to have that mindset while, like Mike said, he doesn't have to do this.
Yeah.
It does remind you a little bit, of Jake and how Jake has operated at the highest level. And Juana, obviously, with years in the game, even before, coming along here at MVP, but we just want to see him back, and I know that's what you guys are wanting to do. So I can tell it's frustrating.
For sure.
Man.
No, for sure. And one thing I will say is that we had 2 really big film opportunities. One really big one coming into this fight.
You can't say obviously what it is.
I can't. No, I can't say what it was.
That's why I was just making sure I had to ask.
But we passed on a huge one that his agent and everybody else was really upset because we didn't want it to take away from this camp.
Wow.
So that just to show his commitment.
So what you're saying is he's the next Captain America. You heard it here first.
I can see Juana as Peter Parker.
Wow, you're kind of close there.
Yeah,
I can see Juana as Peter Parker.
As long as you get me in a role, DJ, you get me on like an extra spot where I'm just sitting there. You know what I mean?
Man, I got you.
I need that. Okay, well, right now we're going to move on and we're going to do our Celsius Essential Reaction. I want, gentlemen, for you guys to give me your favorite fight, because we are here for Most Valuable Prospects number 8. I want your favorite fight on the card. Mike, I'll start with you. What fight is getting you juiced come Friday night?
Man, this might sound like a cop-out, but I promise it's not. It's the main event. Yep. Kevin Brown and John Bauza.
Yep.
I mean, Bauza's already fought at the highest level in the sport. That's his only loss, right, is Richardson Hitchens. And Kevin Brown was a world-class amateur, 5-0. He's looked good as a pro so far, but not spectacular.
Yeah.
His last fight on a Box Lab card, he fought Umada, got dropped, won a very close fight. I thought he deserved to win, but it was a very, very close fight. And if he's not on point, if he doesn't bring his A game against John Bauza, he's gonna have a hard time. It's gonna be a long night. Bauza is not the world's biggest puncher, but he mixes it up, man. And the guy's got 20 pro fights under his belt, and he's gonna bring it. And I have a feeling he's gonna have big crowd support here in Orlando behind him. That's gonna be a fun fight. It's gonna be a really fun fight.
That one feels like 2 A sides.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Love John's story too. We'll talk about that more. Amaury.
I agree. I mean, when we made that fight, we thought that was a great main event.
Yeah.
And, you got 2 guys that are, again, Kevin is more advanced than a normal 5-0. And this is a huge fight for him.
Yeah.
And John Bauza is 18-1, lost to Richardson Hitchens, as we talked about. But this is a huge crossroads fight for him as well.
Yeah.
So I think you have 2 guys that go in there. It's starting, like DJ said, it's 2 A sides. And I think that's definitely the fight of the night. I mean, it's exciting.
Well, listen, DJ, you don't have Juana here with you, but you do have a fighter on the card. Do you want to talk about potentially your favorite fight?
I mean, you're stealing my thunder here, but I am. I'm gonna go a little bit further down the card, and I'm gonna pick Nat No Love Dove. Yep. I mean, she's something special, man. She's progressing every fight. She's getting better every round of experience. Huge, obviously amateur pedigree, but coming into this training camp, it was really interesting to see. I challenged her to find another gear. Can we give a little more? Can we train a little harder? And she just responded with the right mentality. And she's coming in really to make a statement. We're fighting a more experienced girl, a tough girl, a bigger girl, a girl that went, the distance with a big Mexican prospect and Espinoza.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a bit of a step up for Nat, but man, she's looking amazing. She's really on the right path to do some really special things in this game, and I'm just excited for her to show what I believe is the best lead hook in women's boxing.
Is that a prediction? Are we saying lead hook is going to finish the fight? What are we saying here?
I'm going to say this, that Nat, she's small, she's cute, but she is a wolf. She's bigger than a dog.
I was going to say, she ain't even a dog, she a wolf.
Yeah, she's a wolf. So, I obviously, look, I don't want to give a round prediction, but I do want to say that you can expect great things from that. We can box, we can fight, we can mix it up inside. So she's so well rounded that she's ready for anything.
Something I really like that both MVP and you guys at Team Walton do is you challenge your fighters early. Like Juana jumped in there, sold out, NPR. Nat jumping in with more experienced fighters. That obviously it's on purpose, but what is the purpose behind that? Do you feel it's necessary to get them, that tough challenge right away versus, how boxing we've seen for years be 5, 10, 15 fights in before you're getting that real test? Why is that the case?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that, matchmaking is so critical early on when you have somebody that is potentially special.
Yeah.
And you don't want to throw them a bunch of, upside down fighters because they're not really going to get better. Yeah, they might get some experience under the lights, but I think, being tested early, both of Nat's fights were really good opponents, not opponents that came to sit down. And obviously this one as a step up. But, when you have a really, really strong amateur background like Nat does, it helps for sure.
Yeah.
In women's boxing especially too, there's not a lot of mid-ground, right?
It's true.
So you can find opponents that are 0-5 and there are only 5 fights in their life where those 5 pro losses, no amateur background,
Right.
they don't train, they're just opponents, they're professional opponents. There's those.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of, once you get past that level, it's like girls that can fight. It's girls that won amateur tournaments and they take it really seriously. Yeah. In men's boxing, there's more of a gray area and there's more of a maturation process. There's more levels. Yeah, everybody says there's levels, but there's more levels. Yeah. In women's boxing, I mean, look at Ginny Fuchs.
Yeah.
3-0, won a world title against a 16-0 girl on Saturday. And now she was an Olympian and a highly, highly accomplished amateur, but she was only 3-0 at the end of the day. It's like you have to make that jump, and you have to make that jump really early in women's boxing.
I want to hijack the show for a second. Yeah, let's talk about what's our co-main event now, which I think is going to be one of the best fights of the night this Friday, which is Henry Cedeño and Enrico Gogia.
Yep.
So you have a 14-0 Henry Cedeño, former Dominican Olympic team member. Everybody that's been put in front of him, he's stepped up every single time. This is probably his hardest test against a 15-2 Georgian, not Georgian from the U.S., but Georgian from Eastern Europe that's actually been in some very tough fights with major promotions on TV. And I think that definitely is going to be one of the fights to watch because that is going to be nonstop action. And Henry is a good boxer, but he likes to come forward. And he does not mind trading with you. So I've seen the progression in him, and I think that's going to be one of the top fights to watch this Friday night.
It's an excellent fight. Gogia has come up short, or he's got 2 draws on his record also, where he just couldn't quite get over the hump against good fighters. He had a draw with Kent Cruz, who's got a great record.
Hey man, draws happen.
Draws happen.
Draws
man.
happen.
Draws happen, bro.
Draws happen.
Cedeño is an excellent talent. I was really impressed with him on your last show, his last fight on your show. And he comes from a boxing family. He's Yuri Cedeño's brother. Both of them are just tremendous talents. I'm very impressed and high on Henry, and I think he's gonna rise to level opposition on Friday.
Yeah, Gogia was in fighter meetings sipping lattes and talking a little trash, so I'm excited for that one. He was saying, listen, I live in LA, but I still got that Georgian in me, so he's gonna see that.
Respect to him too, because A, he took a really hard fight.
Yeah.
B, he's an Eastern European fighter who relocated to the United States. You'll find fighters that come over here for checks. He's not one of them. Yeah. He picked up his whole life, moved to New York originally, now he's in LA. Yep. I mean, he came here to be the best fighter he can be, and this is his opportunity. This is his moment.
This is Most Valuable Prospects number 8, and I want to speak to Mike and Amaury here. I think you guys have some exciting news for what comes after. I know we don't want to look ahead too much, but something's coming after number 8, and whoever wants to take it away, we have some.
Yeah, number 9, we're officially announcing it Friday, but we are leaving our comfortable digs at the Caribe Royale.
What? We're leaving? No.
Did Amaury clear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we doing?
One time.
One time only. We're gonna be on location, I guess you could say. Okay. We're taking the show on the road, Cagua, Puerto Rico.
Ooh, let's go, man.
Man, I can't spill the beans yet on the card that's coming out Friday, but it's gonna be fun. Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I think it just speaks to again what MVP wants to do with this series, and again with the support of Amaury and the Caribe, we've been able to just build this thing into something that locally, and then when I go back to California, they're asking, when's the next prospects? Right. Who's on the next prospects? Where's that next big name coming from? And I think that's a tribute to both of you gentlemen.
And you know what? It's a good thing. I mean, we support it 100%, and we're behind it, both Box Lab and Caribe. Yeah, we're behind it 100%. Just helps grow the brand. Absolutely. It just helps grow the shows that we're doing. So Absolutely. It's a team effort all the way.
And I think prospects too is it's really special It's unlike most cards out there.
It's my favorite thing, DJ.
I mean,
I love coming and commentating
every
this.
fight is competitive.
Yeah.
There's no losing records on the cards. I mean, like, when you look at it, you're like, every single one has been highly entertaining. So I think from a boxing fan perspective, of course they're looking forward to the next prospect card because they know it's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Yeah, to your point, I was just doing this research recently for an interview I had. In our 7 prospect events, we've had 19 fighters take their first L.
Yeah.
And I'm not counting pro debuts.
Right.
Those don't count. Fighters were 1-0 or better. Undefeated fighters take their first loss.
Yeah.
That's not a way of saying like it's dangerous for them, but that's a testament to them taking difficult fights.
Absolutely.
And that's also a testament to we're getting great quote unquote opponents or B sides. Like you said, the main event, 2 A sides. Yeah. That's what it's all about, man. And that's what makes the product great for fans.
Absolutely. I mean, we've turned, you want to call A side, B side. We've seen guys come in that, on other cards maybe wouldn't be slated to win. Our biggest example, Julian Quiet Storm Smith is made a career for himself. Based off the stuff that he did here and taking that and running with it.
Changed his life. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I love this series. I love it so much. I'm super pumped. Obviously, Puerto Rico, I'll be getting my freaking Puerto Rican garb on, you know what I'm saying? Get the guns out, you know what I mean? Show those off.
We'll get you a Guayabera.
Yeah, I need something, man. I've been working out for a reason. But, speaking of fun fights, obviously the one on everyone's radar here at MVP and coming up in November, we got to talk about it. It just happened. We just had our I guess, third press conference at Fanatics Fest, which I want to talk about that a little more. But Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, it's coming up soon, gentlemen. It's getting closer and closer. And let's talk about Fanatics Fest. In New York, packed crowd. That might have been the most raucous and rowdy press conference I've seen Jake be a part of.
I'll say this, Fanatics Fest. Thank you, wonderful hosts. It was the whole festival is an amazing
Massive
fest.
success, massive.
They did not understand the level of energy that was coming for Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
Oh yeah.
They did not understand. Like people crowding the stage, like it was so hyped.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And it was better. This surprised me. It was better energy than the one at the Apollo Theater in Harlem.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was nuts. And
it was the perfect atmosphere. You had sports fans from across the world really there.
Yep.
So you couldn't really prepare for who you were going to get. I was like, what kind of fan base are we going to get? And as soon as I saw Mike walk out, I was like, uh-oh, Jaken's in trouble, buddy. They came for Mike and Mike only. But fair play to Jake. He kind of played into it.
Oh, yeah.
He was letting the New Yorkers know. He called them Hicks. I was like, you're not in the right place. They're not Hicks, but he was going after him, DJ, did you watch the presser? What did you think of the back and forth between Mike and Jake?
I think Jake is he is like a marketing genius, man. It's like, he has a really special ability to, in a sport where probably a lot of the Tyson fans don't feel he belongs, or didn't really pay his dues, he's able to kind of level the stage in a way that I think is really unique. And he's built up so much confidence throughout his pro career that it doesn't feel like an act to me. If he's confident in his ability, he has a great team around him, and I think that even jumping in, after the Tyson situation where we had to push the fight back, it was almost like he could have just kind of took it easy from there.
Sure.
Most probably, I don't know, did you guys want him to?
The decision
it was hotly debated.
The decision,
it was hotly debated.
According to Jake, the decision was made that they weren't going to do it. They were not going to take a fight. They were going to wait on Mike, and then he just went to sleep, woke up the next day, and was like, "Yeah, never mind, let's do it."
And that is a testament to kind of his mindset and wanting to stay active and be ready. So I mean, it's just so impressive, man. And for a fight that I was actually looking forward to, like outside of MVP, I think the excitement, and to your point, has been built up even more so now. So I think November is going to be special.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the whole card is insane.
Yeah, well, the card is, anytime I feel like when we get these massive blockbuster events, there's no one that builds a card better, I think, than MVP on these just awesome fights from top to bottom. But let's talk about the fight, man, because everybody is spoken about the pressers and talked about, Mike coming back, whether they like Mike fighting or not. The fight's going to happen. So we got to talk about it. Mike's saying that Jake's not going to stand in the middle and throw hands with him. Jake's like, no, I will stand in the middle and throw hands with you. I personally believe, it's just my personal belief, that Mike is in some big trouble here. Is in some real big trouble. Amaury, what do you think?
Listen, my opinion doesn't change from what we talked about previously before Mike got injured or had the issue. I think that Jake wins a fight.
Yeah.
And I think that, Jake's come a long way. I've even seen his development, especially over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think he wins. And I think, you're going to have, there'll be more engagement than what people think.
Can you imagine? And I don't. Obviously, it's Mike Tyson, so you don't want to see him in a vulnerable position. But can you imagine Mike Tyson losing to Jake Paul, having that on his record? How the world is going to potentially react to that? It's going to be insane. Like, you want to talk about the most hated man in boxing? Jake Paul will be that. If he beats Mike Tyson, he's going to be one of the most hated people in the boxing world. Which, good or bad, you're gonna want to pay attention to something like that. On the other side of it, what if Mike Tyson wins? What if Mike Tyson and that nasty gazelle left hook finds Jake's chin? It'd be one of the most, like, they said during the Olympics, a lot of Americans came together, right? And for on social media, everything else, we were Americans.
Yeah.
The boxing world would come together and fist bump their way. We did it.
It'd be crazy.
It'll be insane. I mean, DJ, do you think it's a realistic possibility that Mike puts Jake away?
I think that the last thing to go is power. And it was interesting. I was watching some of the comparisons with the Mayweather-Gotti fight that just happened, and it's like the one thing that is undefeated is father time, and it does slow you down. I mean, shit, I'm 45 and I feel it. You know what I mean? So and Mike's a little older. Mike is, at the end of the day, though, he is a dog. He's an animal. His experience, he's fought on the biggest stages in boxing. So I don't think you can remove that as a possibility. I think that that's a real potential outcome. I do think that, he's dealing with a young, strong, hungry Jake Paul that is obviously going to be faster. He's going to, I actually think Jake will be smart in this fight. And I think, if he does decide to trade, it'll be pick and choosing. It'll hopefully be setting up some shots and less about just standing toe to toe and banging, because I mean, that sounds like a horrible strategy versus Mike Tyson.
Right.
Sounds like no strategy.
Yeah.
No, I'm excited for the fight. I think it's going to be a spectacle regardless. I don't know what's going to happen, but I can guarantee you that you will remember where you were November 15th, 2024. But some other pay-per-views coming up. Next week, we have Canelo versus Berlanga. I want to get some thoughts on this. I'm sure everybody is in agreement that Edgar Berlanga is going to win this fight. It's not even close. But no, let's talk about the fight. This is a fight that boxing community was a little bit, why are we doing this? And some of them are like, we get it. Canelo's an elder statesman, and he has earned the right to pick whatever. Mike, what do you think about this fight?
Well, first I want to say, you said other pay-per-views. November
That's
15th
right.
is
It's not a pay-per-view. That's correct. Yeah, Netflix on November 15th.
Free with your paid subscription.
That is true. I apologize. But yes, this will be a pay-per-view and a $90 pay-per-view at that for Canelo and Berlanga. What do you think about the fight and just Canelo taking Berlanga?
Look, I think Canelo this is not controversial. He's taking what's seen as a safe fight.
Yeah.
There's other fights out there that are considered more dangerous for him. David Benavidez is a fight everybody wants to see.
Of course.
This is a fight that I feel like was always going to happen at some point, because you have, Berlanga's undefeated. He's Puerto Rican or at least New York-Rican, so you can play the Mexico-Puerto Rico card.
Which they are doing.
Which they are. I mean,
which is smart.
You should.
You have to.
Right.
You have to. But, I mean, Canelo's a little bit past it.
Yeah.
He's got over 60 pro fights. People forget that. He's been a pro for nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
15, right?
Yeah, 15, 16 years old, yeah.
Yeah, and he's 34 now.
Yeah.
So, is it an interesting fight to me? No, not necessarily. Does Canelo win? Of course he does. Berlanga can punch, right?
Yeah.
So in the first few rounds, there is some semblance of danger there. I don't think he has the IQ to set something up on Canelo, but the guy's he's physically bigger than Canelo. He's a legitimate puncher, but I think Canelo wins going away. I think the fight may go the distance just because Canelo is not breaking his opponents down the way he used to. But yeah, I mean, the fight is what it is.
Amaury, what do you think?
I'll put the disclaimer out there that I know the Berlanga family very, very well. They're friends of ours. And I know he's been waiting for this opportunity. I also see the fight going the distance. You got a younger Berlanga, strong Berlanga. At the same time, I think that the ring IQ and just everything else that comes with Canelo is going to put him on top. But I don't see, like what some people say, oh, it'll end in 4, it'll end in 5. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Edgar's also gotten better, so I don't see that happening. So I see the fight going the distance.
Yeah.
But I do see Canelo on top.
DJ?
Berlanga, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Canelo has fought a who's who, and he's a very, very special fighter. I think he's a generational talent, and I didn't get this fight, to be totally honest with you. I mean, I get that Canelo's in a position here where he can kind of choose his opponents, but I think if now what Berlanga can do is, if it does go the distance and he performs well, I think that does set him up well. I don't think that that'll be a massive,
not at all.
a massive L for him, and then maybe like a Boo Boo or somebody after that for
Plant's
him.
on that card as well.
Yeah, and there's already a lot of beef, and I'm a big
yeah.
Caleb Plant fan. So
By the way, shout out Tennessee, my guy.
yeah, hell
Plant.
yeah,
That's my
yeah,
dude.
for sure, 615. But I think that Berlanga's not ready for Canelo, and like you, I'm a fan of his too. I like to see him win. Like when he was on that, what was it, first round knockout streak? I mean, I was like tuning in every fight. But yeah, I just think Canelo's too much.
He's coming in with a lot of confidence, Berlanga is. I'll tell you that. I spoke to the family last week. He's coming in with a lot of confidence. And, I think that Canelo's in a point where he doesn't underestimate anybody. He's too smart for that. But I think Berlanga's going to put on a really good performance. And again, I kind of talked about the outcome that I believe, but I think he's going to put on a good performance.
Yeah. No, I think that we're in that position where, Canelo is looked at as a legend, but there is a bit of esteem fading from the aura of like, oh, it's Canelo. Like the confidence, like you talked about for Berlanga. You could see it in their press conferences. I think that I agree with that. I think he's going to have a lot of confidence. I think that the mystique of being like in there with Canelo is fading a bit, but I do think we're going to get either a decision, maybe a late round stoppage, Canelo. But I think it'll be a competitive fight for the most part until Canelo is Canelo.
Agreed.
But also, another pay-per-view heavyweight matchup, big-time matchup. Riyadh season, Wembley Arena, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois. This one is, like I said, interesting because you would think your mind just goes, oh, Anthony Joshua. Yeah, okay, he's going to get the belts back. He's going to get back to but Daniel Dubois is starting to turn people's heads and put on some pretty good performances. Mike, I'll go to you. This fight is, I think, a little bit more competitive than people are giving it credit for.
Yeah, and I'll follow your lead. I'll build the steel man for Dubois. He's coming off a great win. The Hrgovic fight was a barn burner.
Yeah.
He landed big punches. He took big punches. Me personally, I had some concerns about Dubois' heart. I mean, there's 2 fights now that he's checked out of. The Usyk fight, and that was a big mental letdown. A lot of people, self-included, in real time thought he won the fight by body shot knockout. Doesn't get the win, gets stopped on a right hand. It was a good right hand. And
You still feel it was body shot?
I think worst case scenario, he was this close to knocking out the heavyweight champion with a body shot. At worst.
I still think it was a body shot, to be fair.
I still think in full speed, I think it was a body shot. And then even in replays, it's not like, oh, that was low.
Yeah.
It was like it was
almost
right,
more
it was
conclusive
right
to me. It's like, oh, okay, that's
it was
borderline
right
body
there.
shot.
So he checked out against Usyk. He checked out against Joe Joyce previous to that, but he showed a ton of heart against Hrgovic.
Yeah.
And he's a murderous puncher. I mean, he's a big, strong guy. It's a really interesting fight. And then on the flip side, AJ's looked great recently. He hasn't fought A-level competition since Usyk.
Yeah.
Otto Wallin is okay. He's kind of like a fringy top 10 guy. Jermaine Franklin is not a top 10 guy.
Otto a tough guy to fight, though. He made
He's
that fight
awkward.
look
He's awkward.
Yeah.
And he stopped him.
Yeah.
You know, made the corner pulled the plug.
what I'm
It was
saying.
it was a very
It's a good
impressive
win.
performance.
It's a very good
It's
win.
a good win, but it's not he's not Bauza's not dangerous like Daniel Dubois.
Right.
Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting, man. It's an excellent fight.
DJ, you said something before we started to talk here about the look Anthony Joshua has back in his eyes. What are you seeing there?
You know, I think it's special, man. There's a famous quote in boxing where it's hard to get up at 5 a.m. and do road work when you're wearing silk pajamas. And I think maybe there was a time in Joshua's career where, you know, he was built up so much and there was a lot of outside influence that were maybe distractions or took some focus away. But I just feel recently in the interviews that he's just, it looks like a new guy. He looks focused. He looks sharp. I think it's gonna be a great fight. I mean, Dubois coming off of the Usyk knockout was right back in the ring, you know, with Big Baby Miller a couple months later. I mean, that showed some heart, you know. So I think it's gonna be a tough fight, but I just like where Joshua's headspace is right now. And
I
think it's
see
gonna be
him
tough to
differently,
beat.
just like you're saying. I see him differently right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dog, man. I mean, he wanted to scrap Daniel Dubois in the face-to-face.
Yeah.
And Dubois was like, we can, because, you
Yeah.
know, fighters be saying stuff like, oh, we can do it right now. Like, what's up? We can
Well,
do it right
and
now. And
Joshua's-
Anthony's like, no, let's do it right now.
And AJ's always kind of played the good guy. And so when you see that turnover, like then you might got something to worry about.
Well, AJ's background is, you know, a little bit rough. You know, he didn't. He
He's a
came into
street guy.
he came in to is it what do they call him in the UK, a roadman type attitude, you know. And so for him to kind of quell that, and I feel like, you know, both you guys have made good points about, you know, him trying to find him again, and I feel like that's been such a big issue with AJ. He's going to different camps. He's just trying to find it. Feels like he's found it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the fight. I'm gonna go ahead and put a prediction out there. I love Daniel Dubois. Like you said, he's a murderous puncher. I think he's got some great technique, but I just like this mean streak AJ's on. I think AJ stops him. I really do. And I think
I'm
I
with
agree.
you. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I think he does. And I think that's, you know, maybe that's a little bit of wishful thinking too, just because I want to see AJ back at the top. He's just a massive draw.
good.
This event as well is going to be massive, but that's
Sold
where I'm
out
gonna go.
Wembley?
Yeah.
I mean,
But that's the thing, AJ.
Not a small place.
no, man.
You know, and this
He's
is
a superstar.
a superstar regardless of the wins and losses. And I think, you know, that's another big point that we talk about in boxing, this fear of the O stuff. AJ has been able to keep his superstar, I would argue, more than even a guy like Tyson Fury has. Like the UK has this want for AJ to be great, whereas Tyson Fury is looked at as great, but they want AJ to be great. They want him to be you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's, again, for AJ, this is going to be hopefully the resurgence, what I want to see from him anyway. But, well, gentlemen, it's been a fantastic talk. Another great episode here at the Boxing Lab. But as we head out, any last words?
I think it's going to be a great night of boxing. Brown and Bauza going for the Kevin Brown's WBA Continental Americas title. Cedeno, Nat Dove, Howling, continue on down the line. Elvis Gomez, I think a great night of fights, and you should be here. Watch it either here live or on DAZN.
The main event of the prelims, and Travius Ingram, Cruz Stewart. Ingram's taking a big step up. It's a very, very good fight.
Yeah, just tune in. If you can't be at the Creed Royale, make sure you tune in to DAZN.
These guys are doing my job for me, man. But yes, this Friday, September 6th, live on DAZN here at the Caribe Royale, Most Valuable Prospects #8. This is episode 3 of the Boxing Lab presented by Celsius Live Fit Essential Energy. We will see you Friday night. Tune in. We'll get ready to go with some great fights once again on DAZN.